Yes.
Because they're describing this, say, hold on, this is only a two-dimensional version. We're in a three-dimensional world, so there's something else that they can't depict because they'll be having to look through it to see what they're showing us.
And they had to roll everything by 60 degrees or 66 degrees.
They roll
That's
it over
why we
66
see
degrees.
that coordinate everywhere.
To hide.
It's replete.
That's
it's
what
everywhere.
you have to adjust the map by the coordinate. If you draw in your map, Antonio, I want to play with you on the map. If you made these grid lines the right width, if you made these the right width underneath it, so it just got condensed a little bit.
Yeah.
I worked with the pattern with the magnetics there. These are you read the numbers, they are your coordinates. I can tell you where everything is placed accurately on the maps because things have to be accurate because people fly from place to place and they travel and they do things.
Yeah.
And we have it working if you do it here, taking the Tahiti Express, your magnetics are always going to pull you around here. I was telling Bob if you were going to hide land, where you would hide land is right up here.
Yeah.
Off of the map because you have sunlight past Hawaii, but all your magnetics pull you back around. Everything that you try to do, water, flying, or whatever, your things are going to pull you back in. But any hidden land, you have a temperate zone up off the chart, up here.
So
wow,
this is where the hidden land would be if it was on this.
Yes.
Here.
Yes, and then pull these back around there. Yeah. This makes an oval over it again. It's more condensed than this, but it's like the fattest egg you ever saw.
Right.
Like a fat egg.
So one thing that we need to try and
the
confirm
sun thing
is that the 2 points of Antarctica that we're saying that are basically diametrically opposed. I'll bet you that to get to each of the bases that would reside on each side of the Earth, one set of people would have to leave from like Ushuaia, roughly. And then others would have to leave from the vicinity of Australia. Okay? In other words, there is no shortcut to just go whipping across the continent, you know, because it's literally on the opposite side of the plane.
Yep. There's like Australia.
But they folded it in. They folded those two sides of it in, those two land masses into one point on Australia. That's where we've been missing it because everybody's been looking at the east-west and the secret's on the north-south.
They confused it. They spun it around.
The object, the third object.
And overlay the magnetic poles where they both are on top of Russia and on top of us. It's the same pole. So that they doubled out the pole, and then while lying and imaging it doubling out on a piece of paper because the bottom poles do double out. There are two poles down there. That's why the quad pole map. That's why the quad pole maps always have Russia and America split like this.
Yeah.
Because taking it and putting here and here, so all the magnetics and everything on the quad pole are alive because these ones are folded together. You're taking it and you're taking the map and you're making like they said in what was it, Jodie Foster? What was the primer? Contact. You know how you took it and you had to fold the primer? That's exactly what you're doing on this primer. The primer is you take the two north poles from Russia and bring them in.
Remember, they brought everything into the triangle. In the triangle, if you remember the primer, how they
have to give us the answers.
It's been right there in front of us the whole time.
They tell us the answers just to the wrong questions.
And the object in the sky, the third object that you said has to be there because of as above, so below, could be what is responsible for the eclipse situation that nobody can really figure out.
I have the eclipses figured out. Got it.
Yes.
Oh, okay, you do? Okay.
I have the eclipses totally figured out.
Wow.
So can I
So
just
what's
ask a
the
couple of
third
questions?
object then?
Can I ask a couple of questions?
I don't need a third object. There could be a million objects up there, but I don't need it for any of my theories.
I'm saying it's implied, and it could be that
He's saying
third object,
in Trinity.
which could be considered to be Rahu or the Black Sun that's been told in mythology.
Well,
Yeah, that's
that's
what I'm
one
thinking.
question down. The second question was, you said Antarctica is everywhere, but we've got these two magnetic bulges. What did you mean by when you said Antarctica is everywhere?
Because
Well, it's all around us.
there
is an ice wall.
There is an ice wall. As soon as you go out of the realm of where the sun can melt the puddle, so you have that egg-shaped, you have your egg-shaped, right? That the sun is going and it's going to melt that. So you're going to have ice sheets where there's no continent.
Right. So
But you do have where there's magnets and that going, like where people get on and see ground and it's not just snow and not just an ice wall. So your ice walls are
one last
more
question
frozen.
then. So if you're in Hawaii and you've got, let me just wrap my head around this. If you're going north of Hawaii, you've got a different south. Is that correct? When you're in Hawaii, to go further up the map.
Okay, when you're in Hawaii, follow your direction lines. You're at Hawaii. You're in the middle of the heart.
Yeah, directly down.
Okay, and Hawaii, what's famous in Hawaii is the Tahiti Express. Follow the lines. Follow the lines. That's your direction. That's how you read direction. East, west, and that are these lines, and they change because they're compass lines. And as your magnetics change, your compass lines change. These are your fields that they follow.
What Nathan is saying, if you're in Hawaii and you're heading north, and your compass is pointing north, what we call the South Pole would be behind you. So it would be in that space where you say that there could be another pole or another.
Yeah, where they have more land because there's more space. Here we are in Hawaii, right?
No,
they have nothing mapped here.
In Hawaii, you're at the top on the cleft.
Let me ask my question again.
You're right.
I'll ask a slightly different question. So if you're in Hawaii, if you're in Hawaii right now and you want to go up off the map, what direction are you traveling? If you go up to where you said there was more land, which direction are you going? If you go literally up
you would have to go straight here, but it wouldn't. Your compasses are going to want to take you this way and that way. They're not, and the currents, the Tahiti Express, all of the currents, all of the airflows, all of the jet streams, everything is taking you around here. So you have to break through that little. Everything is circling there. So where it would be hidden is making it through whatever the break is.
There's like a barrier there of some sort.
There of some sort. I don't know what it is, but all of your readings are going to circle you one way or the other, but they're not, your readings are circling you.
Right, because remember, when you're traveling by compass, there's always a declination factor, right? And I haven't checked this yet, but I'm wondering, what is the maximum magnetic declination? Is it like up to 33 degrees by any chance?
You would have to look it up.
Yeah, you need to check.
Yeah, I bet it is.
I'd almost bet you that it is.
Yeah.
I mean, this fits together so neatly, but it really is, conceptually, it messes with your head because, again, we've been taught everything backwards, reversed, and upside down.
Don't mean to be disagreeable, but not at all. This conceptually works beautifully. I don't have to wrap my head around it at all. It seems to work perfectly.
Oh, that's awesome,
Nick,
and I'm glad to hear that because it's taken her a long time to pound it through my head. But it clicked
so
today.
Beautiful.
That's why I asked you guys, are you visual? It's like Africa sits on the thing right here with the prime meridian going right there. And again, you can, if you draw the lines and coordinates, you can match up where they go.
The prime meridian goes right down the Nile.
South America goes, once you hit the equator and that is partially on here, it comes and it tips right around like this. But all you have to do is look at where the coordinates are on the map and draw the points on where the edges are, Antonio. Once you squish it in and you put points on where the coordinates, that tells you where everything is for your map. Do you understand? If you squish this in as a grid line,
yeah,
I can help you read it if you have any problem reading maps because I'm good at it.
Okay.
I adjusted the grid lines on it for it. But if you do that, all you have to do is read your numbers, read the land coordinates, like on the tip of Brazil or like the tip of South America. Like South America's came out right, I believe, right here. It tells you where to put your dots to do the outlines of your continents.
Yeah.
Because your coordinates are all real. People travel the land. They're real.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say that you placed the continent there now, and once you placed it, you then adjusted for that distortion in the spacing between the lines.
Very little distortion. Yeah.
Yeah. Would you then reorient the actual landmass?
Yeah. Yeah, and it tells you, it does it itself by matching up different cities and that, it tells you to use shell.
So I've got you, yeah.
It does it itself, you'll be amazed. It does it pretty accurately, even with wrong misshapen pieces, that when you hold and do the paces over, it does it.
Does it explain things like the Bermuda Triangle with the magnetics and such?
Yes, it specifically...
Of course it does.
It specifically addresses that.
You better believe it does.
It addresses that. It addresses.
Okay, so what doesn't this explain?
I can't find anything.
We haven't been able to. We haven't been able
to find anything. If you can think, ask me a question that I can't explain on this.
Wow.
I know, it's overwhelming. It's like, wow.
Well,
So
congratulations. I mean, pat yourself both on the back. I mean, wow, Jesus Christ, I'm lost for words. Wow.
I told you when I said I have the primer. I have the primer.
Of all people to figure this out.
I can't believe that he says it's that. What this has been like is this has been for like me. I'm a puzzle person, and I told him all of this past. I've been working on it for over a year, and I told him it's like a diagramless logic problem. That I don't know if anybody did Dell puzzles or anything, but I love logic problems where they give you the sentence you had to figure out who lived in what house and the. Mm-hmm. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
And then the diagramlesses are like the crosswords that they don't tell you where the blocks go. Mm-hmm. So this has been, I told him, this is like solving a freaking diagramless logic problem because you don't know what questions to fill in the diagramless.
How long have you been working on this from the first time?
Over a year. I have a solid working model of it in print over a year ago that had some of it, but not everything.
Of all people to come up with it, Cami, you connected with Bob. I mean, thank goodness. Good, wonderful, warm, nice, loving, connected, conscious people. Like, oh my God, I feel like crying. So good.
It doesn't help me with Bob, actually. It's good to talk. I mean, I love Bob. No.
Believe me,
Patricia, but it broke up their marriage.
No, listen.
No, he's thrown this out over a year ago because I'm his wife.
But Cami, please listen, okay? Because you have to explain it to Bob, who has a very different mind to you, you have to conceptualize it more clearly for yourself so you can explain it for him.
You're right.
So if he had a mind that was closer to you, you might have a more vague idea and never actually come to fitting it. Do you get
So it's perfect.
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I do, but when I say that, I mean that in a good with him. It's just he does not have the visual. He has so many other skills, but he does not have.
Yeah. So you have to make it extra rotund so that, it is digestible to some visual.
And she basically came up with all this when, about a year ago, and I was saying, look, this has got to be a magnetic model. This, the magnetics is the key to this. She took that to heart and ran with it, and that's basically what she's been doing ever since.
Furious. I don't always watch all of the shows and everything in the background. I try to get on the chats, but I'm in the background looking at magnetic patterns and I go out and I watch the moon every day to do the phases. Patricia, do you want to know how the phases work?
Oh, she's got this down cold.
That's been something that's been bugging me bigger than almost anything involving all of this.
This I have proof positive. Or not proof positive, but it's pretty good.
It pans out.
It pans out.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to share a screen. Let's see how well I can do this to you without the... Oh, you know what? I can do it in a picture here a little bit first. Let me do it here in color.
Okay.
I was looking at the moon last night.
Just a little thing to throw in. You look at the sun, and the sun veers out until it hits that flux point where it bounces away and hits the other flux point. Okay. So there has to be flux points this way too for the moon to go up, bounce off, and bounce back up.
Of course. Yeah, that's part of the field. That's the toroidal field. It has to be there. You're right.
Are they seasons as it does that?
This does seasons. This does it all. Let me show you. Again, I don't have the artwork in the presentation done, but I have it in my brain. So, okay, imagine the sun's path, the yellow line, and the moon's path is the blue line. Now, I'm taking this from a picture of the sun and the moon's path out of all of the science. If you look up lunar nodes, you will come up with this picture.
Okay, and let me stop her right there. Hang on a second.
Okay.
And also, to understand this, you have to understand that these two circles, as the year goes around, they're actually going like this, up and down. Okay? So you'll have the sun higher at some points, and you'll have the moon higher at some points. In other words, they're kind of teeter-tottering back and forth.
It's a monthly teeter-tottering.
That's important to know.
The sun and the moon are teeter-tottering every month, and it creates the phases within the heights of the sun and the moon, but they're also expanding and contracting between the fields. So this is
they ride between
them.
The tropics.
As they ride between the tropics. This is how it works. Which I'm going to... keep this color, the sun and the moon colors in your mind. I'm bringing it up on the screen.